Welcome to Marketing Monday. I'm Paula Williams. Today we have a question from someone who scheduled an appointment with us, and he'd been in business for a really long time. And I have to give you a little bit of background before I tell you what the question is, just so that it will make sense, and then we'll answer the question. But thank you for joining us on Facebook Live. It's good to see you here. Please do give us a thumbs up. Let us know that you're here. And also, if you have any questions or comments or anything else, you can go ahead and enter those and we'll respond to those as we can, either during or after the podcast. This is not a podcast. This is a live cast is what we're doing. So anyway, back to the question. This person scheduled an appointment with us, and as usual, when I meet with someone for the first time, I ask them a few questions to kind of get the conversation going and get an idea of where they're coming from. And one of the questions that I asked was there something in particular that caused you to schedule an appointment with us or reach out to us at this particular time? And he said, it's interesting that you ask that. This might take a little bit to explain. And I said, well, it's our last appointment of the day, so we got all the time in the world, which was nice. So he mentioned that a friend of his, actually one of his primary customers, who also was a family friend and, had become very close. And this happens a lot in the aviation industry because a lot of times we'll have relationships for people for 10, 20, 30 years. But anyway, one of his primary customers had actually passed away. And it's one of those things that, besides the death of a friend or a colleague, it can be really traumatic. And so, I certainly understand that. But also it kind of makes you step back and look at your business and say, you know what? A lot of our business was coming from this particular group of friends. And a lot of them are retiring or passing the business onto their children, who may or may not be continuing it as they chose, or passing it on to other people, or selling their business, or having it merged with others, and other kinds of things. So his demographic was changing, and a lot of the folks in his customer pool were also being subject to a lot of economic forces. A lot of them were in oil and gas, and so things were really volatile for them, and things like that. So he said, you know what? I have never done any advertising or marketing. So I'm a little uncomfortable about this, and I really don't know where to start. So it was actually really cool that we had this conversation, because then I had an idea of where he was coming from. His particular book of business or his particular set of clientele that he'd been working with were nearing retirement age and were in volatile situations and looking to get out and things like that. He was looking for things that were more stable. And he mentioned, we need some younger clients. We need people maybe in the medical fields, in tech, other kinds of things, other people that need business aviation, of course, but are in different fields and maybe a little bit more stable and, different demographic, and people that I'm not really sure how to reach because I'm not familiar with these people. I've not done business with them before. Well, that's fantastic. And that was a really great basis for a conversation, because we could start with a conversation about what he wanted. What is your ideal customer and where do you want to go? Do you want to also retire in the next couple of years, or are you looking to build your business so that you can sell it or maybe pass it on to your children? So looking at this strategy of what does success mean to you? What is your ideal customer? What do they look like? And carrying on with that. And of course, all of this could not be decided in one sitting. So what we did is we went through the process that we call our marketing flight plan. And what that includes is a questionnaire. It's a pretty involved questionnaire that asks a lot of questions and gets to the heart of why you're doing business, what your goals are, for the next 90 days, 1 year, 5 years, those kinds of things, what your ideal customer looks like and why, and how maybe the customers that you have aren't a good fit anymore when maybe they used to be. So we go through the questionnaire, and then we do another consultation and make recommendations. And there were a lot of things that this person was doing already that he didn't think were marketing, but actually we consider that they were marketing. He did a lot of public speaking. He did a lot of events and other things. And um, he was a guest on, some other radio shows and other kinds of things. So he actually did have quite a bit of public speaking experience that could be leveraged maybe into webinars or into podcasts and other kinds of things that are maybe new technology using his old skills. And so we really love being able to find things like that he was comfortable with. He didn't feel like this was tacky advertising or anything that he was squeamish about, but things that he really felt like he could do. And then we put together a 90-day plan of, here we are now. We don't want to damage any of the relationships that you currently have or any of the customers that you currently have or turn anyone off or offend anyone. But this is where we want to be 90 days from now. How do we transition gracefully from here to here using the marketing tools that we have? So that was basically the flight plan process for this person. Once again, we don't want to do any random acts of marketing. We don't want any quick fixes. The last thing that you want to do, if you've not done any marketing before and you realize that maybe you need to, the last thing you should do is dabble or start throwing money into advertising in different places just to see how it works. You can damage your brand, you can damage your credibility, you can damage your image if you really don't do this intentionally and do this with a plan. So that's why we recommend our marketing flight plan as a really great way of setting up a step-by-step process that you and we agree on with your expertise in your business and our expertise in marketing, so that you have the best possible chance of success. So that was the question for this week. How do I get started when I haven't done any marketing before? And I know that was not a short answer, but it's a complex question. And I'm pretty sure that he was not the only person that's had it. There's a lot of folks in the aviation industry that have been in business for a really long time and have relied on those particular networks of folks to keep their business running. And it's worked really, really well until recently, for whatever reason. Demographics, your customers are getting older. Geographics, your aviation is becoming globalized just like everything else. You're getting competition that you didn't have 5 or 10 years ago. And you're getting a lot of things going on that were not happening before. So that's a good reason to do a marketing flight plan if you've never done any marketing before, so that you can make sure that we get started on the right track. So ask us a question. If we use it in one of our Marketing Mondays, we will send you a book. This is our social media guide to high altitude results, our social media guide for aviation professionals. So we sent this to our nameless friend who asked the question last time. And once again, it may not be all that valuable to him because social media was one of the things that we decided not to do in that case. And it's always just a matter of what works best, what you're comfortable with, what works best to find your ideal customer and connect with them. So it may or may not be the best thing for you, but once again, you get the book and you can do with it what you like. And highly recommend the marketing flight plan so that we don't do random acts of marketing or end up going down the wrong path or damaging your brand in the process. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.